So this quiz is going to be over standard form, finding x and y intercepts, finding the zero, rate of change and slope, direct variation, and then sloped intercept form. So writing it and graphing it. We're going to do a couple problems from each section until we get halfway, and if there's time remaining, then we can go back and do a couple more out of sections that we need to look at. Does that sound good? Okay. So for the first section is standard form and intercepts. So we need to write these equations in standard form. So standard form is going to be ax plus by equals c. So a, b, and c are going to be your numbers, and then x and y needs to be on the left-hand side. So there's special things about this. A cannot be negative. A cannot be 0. And then A, B, and C cannot have common factors. Do we have any questions so far? Okay, so we have y equals negative 3x plus 9. We need to move x over to the same side as y. So it's minus 3x, so we're going to add 3x to both sides. It cancels out, gives us 3x plus y equaling 9. So that is our standard form equation. X and y are on the same side, and it's going to be equal to our constant c. The next one, we need to move x over to the other side. So x is positive 6, so we have to do the opposite and subtract 6x from both sides. It cancels out. We bring down negative 5, and then we have negative 6x plus y. Now there's something that we cannot have that's happening right now. Our a, which is negative 6, cannot be negative. So we have to take that whole equation and multiply it by negative 1. So all it does is flips all the signs. So negative 6x becomes positive 6x, plus y becomes minus y, and then negative 5 becomes a positive 5. So now it's in standard form. Three and 4 are very similar. You just have to combine your like terms first. Okay, the next section, and please stop me if you have any questions, is going to be determining the x and y intercept. Once we have the x and y intercept, we are going to graph it on the graphs below. So x-intercept, we're going to put y to equal 0. And y-intercept, we're going to have x to equal 0. It's always going to be the opposite of what you're finding. So the x-intercept, we're going to substitute in 0 in for y for our equation and solve for our x. We have 2x plus 3 y, we're going to put 0, is equal to 12. And we're going to solve this equation. 3 times 0 is 0. So it cancels out. We bring down everything else as is. So 2x equals 12. Now we need to divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself. Cancels out. We're left with x equaling 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. So our x-intercept is 6. So to write that as a point, we're going to do 6, comma, and then our y, what we substituted in, is 0. So 6, 0 is our point. Now we're doing the same thing for the y-intercept, but now we're going to substitute 0 in for our x. So we're going to have 2 times 0 plus 3y equaling 12. 2 times 0 cancels out because it's 0. We bring down everything else as is. 3y equals 12. And divide both sides by 3. Cancels out, leaving us y to equal 12 divided by 3 gives us 4. So our y-intercept is 4. So now when we write that as a point, we substituted 0 in for x, so we're going to have 0, comma, our y-intercept of 4. So 0, 4 is our y-intercept. Then we're going to graph it. So our x-intercept is going to be on the x-axis. So we have 6, 0. So we go over 6. Put a point. And then our y-intercept is going to be on the y-axis, and that's 4. So then we go up 4. Now we need to connect and draw our line. Don't forget our line goes past the point all the way to the edge of the graph. And we have arrows on the end because a line continues on. Please stop me if you have any questions. Okay, we're going to do one more for the x and y intercept. So for B, we have 3x plus y equals 6. Same process. We need to find the x-intercept. Hold on one second. Okay, We're going to continue on. So we need to find the x-intercept. So we're going to substitute 0 in for y and solve. So we're going to have 3x plus 0, since we substituted in, equals 6. Plus 0 cancels out. We bring down 3x equals 6. We can divide both sides by 3. Cancels out. We have x to equal 6 divided by 3 is 2. So when we write our point, we're going to have 2, comma, 0. 2 is what we solved, and then we had the 0 for our y that we substituted in. Do the same thing for the y-intercept, but now x, we're going to substitute 0 in for. So we'll have 3 times 0 plus y equals 6. 3 times 0 is 0, so it cancels out. We are left with y equals 6. So this one was an easier math problem there. So our x, we substituted in with 0, so it's 0, comma, what we found was 6. We're going to graph those 2 points. So our x-intercept is going to be on our x-axis. So go over 2, put a point. Y-intercept is 0, 6. So we'd be on the y-axis and go up 6. And put a point. Now connect them. And make sure you draw past the points to the edge of the graph. And arrows on the ends. So now let's look at the next problems. So now we are finding the 0. So in other words, finding the 0 is just your x-intercept. So we're doing what we are just doing, finding the intercepts, but we only have to do the x. We don't have to find the y. So for number 22 here, it says Sean is sending text to his friends. The function we have is y equals 160 minus x. And this represents the number of characters y the messages can hold after he has typed x characters. Find the 0 and explain what it means in context to the situation. So we have the function. So this one's nice. We don't have to figure out what that function is. So we have y equals 160 minus x. If we need to find the x-intercept, the x-intercept is going to be when y equals 0. So we're going to substitute y equals 0 for y. We're going to solve for x. So we're going to have 0 equals 160 minus x. Get the loose number to the other side. So we have 160, which is positive. So we're going to subtract it from both sides. Zero minus 160 is negative 160 equals, and bring down negative x. We need a positive x, so we're going to divide the whole thing by negative 1. So all it does is switches all the signs. So we're going to have x to equal positive 160. So our 0 is x equals 160. So we are talking about sending text to friends. So what this means is he has 160 characters he can use. So he can send no more than 160 characters in text messages before he runs out. So let's write that. So Sean and send no more than 160 characters in a text message. So we always need to know what it means in context. We don't want to just find the solution. We need to know what that actually means. So his text message can only hold 160 characters, and characters, if you don't know what that truly is, it's each letter, number, space, punctuation in a text message. The next one I would want you guys to do, which the key will be uploaded tomorrow to check, and then again we can always come back if there's more time. Now finding it algebraically, same process, we're just finding the zero. So for this one, when you find algebraically, you're just substituting in 0 for our y. So we have 3x minus 0 equals 9. The 0 cancels out. You have 3x equaling 9. Now we solve it. We have to divide both sides by 3. So x is going to equal 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, oops. The next section we're going to look at is rate of change and slope. So your slope is always going to be with your x. We have the equation y equals mx plus b, which we learned before. So m is your slope, and it's attached to your x. So let's rearrange this to look like y equals mx plus b form. So we need to move our x over. We're going to subtract 4x from both sides. Cancels out. We get 3y. I'm going to bring down equals, I'm going to put the x first, so negative 4x, and then the minus 9. We need y by itself, so we're going to divide everything by 3. The 3's cancel, and we're left with y equaling negative 4 divided by 3. We can't divide that, so we're just going to leave it as that fraction, negative 4 thirds x, and then we have 9 divided by 3, and that is 3, but we have the minus sign, so minus 3. So now we have it in the form that we can see what our m is, our slope, which is negative 4 thirds. So our slope is negative 4 thirds. Okay, let's look at finding it on a line. So when you are finding slope, that is graph. You want to think of slope as rise over run. And when you are rising, you are going up, which is positive, or down, which is negative. And then when you're running, you're going to the right, which is positive, or the left, which is negative. So we are going to start for number 1 with the bottom point and go to our top point. So we are going to rise. and count how far up we go. If you count how far up, we are going up 9 units. So if we're going up, that's a plus 9. Then we're going to count how far over we go. And we're going to the right, which is a positive, and we're going to the right 4 units. So it's rise over run. So rising was 9, and it's positive. Running is 4, which was positive. So we have our slope 9 over 4. And 9 over 4 we cannot simplify, so we're just going to leave it as is. Let's look at number 4. Same thing. We're going to rise and then run. So we're going to start with our bottom point and go to the top. So we're going to rise 1, and we went up, so that's a positive 1. Then we are going to run. We're going to the left, and we went to the left 4 units. And if we're going to the left, that's negative. So now when we write it, we're going to have 1 over negative 4. But when we truly write it, we want to have this negative out in front. So our slope is negative 1/4. So that is the slope of a line when you have it graphed. Now we have the equation here, and we just have to identify which is the slope. So it's kind of like the last problems on the last page where we had it to move it into y equals mx plus b, but these equations are already in the correct form, so we can just identify what our slope is. So here we have y equals negative 5/4 x plus 3. Our slope is with our x. So our slope is negative 5/4. Now we are going to find the slope of the line through these specific points that are given to us. So when we're given 2 points and we need to find the slope, we're going to use the slope formula. The slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the 1's refer to the first point and the 2's refer to the second point. So if it's helpful, you can label each point. So this is x1 and y1. This is x2 and y2. So for our formula, we're going to take the second y, which is 7, and subtract it from the first y, which is negative 6. Then we're going to divide it and have the second x, which is negative 11, minus the first x, which is 17. And now we simplify. We simplify with 7 minus negative 6. Minus a negative makes a positive here. So we're going to add these two. 7 plus 6 gives us 13. And then we have negative 11 minus 17. So that's going to give us a negative 28. Now we need to see if we can simplify this, which you can just type it into your calculator and do 13 divided by 28, and then hit math, enter, and you should get the same result because this cannot be simplified anymore. So our answer is negative 13 over 28 as our slope. It's not a pretty number, but it's what it is. Let's see, which other one do I want to look at? Let's look at the next one, 10. So again, it's a lot easier if you label your points. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Now substitute it into the formula. So we're going to take y2, which is negative 5, minus y1, which is 4. Divide it by x2, which is negative 4, minus x1, which is 3. And do negative 5 minus 4. Negative 5 minus 4 gives us negative 9. We're going to do negative 4 minus 3, which gives us negative 7. Now, a negative divided by a negative makes a positive, so we have a slope of 9/7. There are some students that want to make this a mixed number, which the number up in top like would have a whole and then a part of a fraction. You do not want to do that with slope. You want to leave it as an improper fraction every time. So that is half of the review. The other half we'll go over tomorrow, which starts with section 4 of direct variation. Is there any problems we want to go over and see more examples of the sections we've done? Okay, looks like we do not have any questions. So again, the problems we did not do today will be shown on the answer key with step-by-step that will be posted tomorrow. And if you end up having any questions, just please reach out. I can always help. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day.